Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
And welcome to
The Contemporary,
a world of ideas.
This is Caro Catherine Tutor.
And this is Doris Bernasol, your newscaster for today. Hot topics are stages of media development,
By Lavita Joseph.
media evolution,
By Lena Rolly.
media as career of culture,
By Sungkit Mariel and Akpak Ginalin.
outcomes of the influence of globalization as culture,
By Busio Gladys and Lozano Dixty.
social media a tool and fool.
By Isada Mirajoy and Lavinia Grace.
And to give us the summary or generalization of this topic,
By Ligara Ana Rose. Globalization. Globalization is a term used to describe how trade and technology have made the world into a more connected and interdependent place. Globalization is also captures in its scope the economic and social changes that have come about as a result. Globalization is a set of social processes that lead to the social condition of globalism through the growing consciousness of global connectivity.
Impact of COVID-19 and globalization. Globalization has altered the way we live and earn a livelihood. Consequently, trade and travel have been recognized as significant determinants of the spread of disease. Additionally, the rise in urbanization and the closer integration of the world economy have facilitated global interconnectedness. Therefore, globalization has emerged as essential mechanism of disease transmission. It aims to examine the potential impact of COVID-19 on globalization and global health in terms of mobility, trade, travel, and countries most impacted. The effect of globalization were operationalized in terms of mobility, economy, and healthcare systems. The mobility of individuals and its magnitude was assessed using airline and seaport trade data and travel information. The economic impact was measured based on the workforce, event cancellations, food and agriculture, academic institutions, and supply chain. The healthcare capacity was assessed by considering healthcare system indicators and preparedness of countries, utilizing a technique for order of preference by similarity to ideal solution or TAXIS. We calculated a pandemic vulnerability index or PVI by creating a quantitative measure of the potential global health. The pandemic has placed an unprecedented burden on the world economy, healthcare, and globalization through travel, events cancellation, employment workforce. Based on PBI results, certain countries were more vulnerable than others. In Africa, more vulnerable countries included South Africa and Egypt. In Europe, there were Russia, Germany, and Italy. In Asia and Oceania, they were India, Iran, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. And for the Americas, they were Brazil, USA, Chile, Mexico, and Peru. The impact on mobility, economy, and healthcare system has started to manifest. The findings of this study may help in the planning and implementation of strategies of the country level to help ease this emerging burden.
The stages of media development. Oral communication paved the way for market trade and cross-continental trades routes and became the most important tool for exploring the world and different cultures. Because distance became a problem with oral communication, the script came next, and it allowed not only communication on a larger space and longer duration, but also permanence and codification of youth's beliefs and behaviors. The printing press allowed continuous and mass production and circulation of information. Printing press used ink to transfer text and images to paper. Metal presses, developed late in the 18th century, used steam to drive a cylinder press, flatbed presses. Emerging early in the 19th century, used flatbeds to hold the types and either a reciprocating platen or a cylinder to hold paper. Electronic media has opened up new perspective in the different process of globalization. Electronic media is a media that uses electricity, including television, radio, the internet, fax, CD-ROMs, DVDs, and online video streaming. It includes any medium that uses digital or electronic encoding of information. Digital media. Much of the printing press and electronic media industry migrated to this communication and platforms with the interest and compute networks are relied on in the transmission of digitized contents. Digital media. It includes software, digital image, digital video, video games, web pages, and websites. Social media, digital data, and databases. Digital audio, such as MP3 electronic documents and electronic books. I am Joseph Lamitad reporting.
Media evolution. Evolution of the media has been fraught with concern and problem. Acquisition of mind control, bias, and poor quality have been thrown at the media on a regular basis. Technology allows people today to find more information more easily than any previous generations. Like mass media, it can be print, radio, television, or internet news. It can be local, national, or international. Here are some examples that related to media regulation. First, we have the social dilemma. Technology that connects us and also controls us. It is also a collective action situation in which there is a conflict individual and a collective interest. It is a situation in which individuals could do better if they either change their strategies or change the rules of the game. Example, overfishing. Whereas individual fishermen may be tempted to fish as much as they can. They although the fish population might become depleted. It is detrimental to all fishermen. Next, we have the split and vulcanized people. Third people and friends apart. Divided and compartmentalized users. Through vulcanized, decision making affects people especially because of the social media. Next, we have the echo chambers or social media bubbles. This produces herd mentality. People nowadays view information on social media based on popularity and not on critical thinking. Example of this is a great follow where their shepherds left them. While reading, listening to opinions that are different from theirs. The effect on herd mentality. People fall victims to entire trolls, people be victims to intimidations, threats, hacking fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. Next, we have the Snapchat dysmorphia. Had been coined by plastic surgeon after an increasing number of young patients or filter selfies. Effect of Snapchat dysmorphia. Consequently, People with BDD often develop social anxiety and avoid social situations due to their fear of being rejected or ridiculed for their appearance. Hence, the emotional distress associated with body dysmorphic disorder affects daily functioning at school and with family and friends. Example, Facebook. No team editor trains to sift through and filter information. Unlike newspaper story, it's written by the professional journalist. Effects of Facebook. Facebook usage has been associated with both positive and negative impacts on different aspects of people's lives, including positive impacts such as improving relationships between friends and family. The negative impacts such as low academic performance, personal relationship problems, and social. Next, we have the Twitter. Organize and disseminate information, or Arab Spring, means the term used in democratic aspect. Tweets of Twitter. Snappy nature of tweets means that Twitter is widely used by smartphone users who don't want to read long content items or script. Twitters allow you to easily promote your research. For example, by providing links to your blog stories, journal articles, and new items. Another example of Twitter is Gamet, the Women's March version for the newly elected President Donald Trump on 2016. Benefits of that we can get of media. Information technology. As a major part in our lives, it helps us to deal with everyday dynamic things and to make it easier to our generations where technology was our mean of communication. Example, video chat our loved ones, telephone and radio equipment, and personal computer. Another benefits of media is weather forecast. This is important since it helps us to predict the future climate expectation, like low pressure area, temperature, wind, humidity, and cloudiness. This is Rolly Liena reporting.
Media as carrier of culture. It is a great influence, the globalization of cultures, a carrier of cultures. It is a one force and medium that spreads cultural flows across nations and peoples, resulting in thick and deep integration of cultures. According to Jacques Ellul, there is no globalization without media, because the latter fosters the condition for global capitalism. And there are 5 media-drive global integration. First, promoting capitalist globalization, movement of money, prices, goods, and services. Second, bringing countries closer to Western ways of life. It is a better culture followed by inferior culture, especially in the Philippines. Third, promoting cultural exchanges through mediated cultural experiences. Fourth, building connection between the first and the third worlds. It is interconnected in other countries. For example, vaccine responses. Fifth and last, manufacturing consent and manufacturing content in favor of globalization, according to Noam Chomsky. For example, advertisement. A brand of a popular actor or actresses promoting capitalist, globalization, money, and fame. And this is Janalyn Akpak reporting.
This is the examples of how media became carriers. We use all kinds of terms to talk about media. It will be especially important to discuss between mass communication and mass media, and to attempt a working definition of cultures. Communication can take place just between two people, or among a few people, or maybe within one person who is talking to himself. Communication happens using one or more of many different kinds of media. It can be televisional, internet. Media refers to those means or transmissions that are designed to reach a wide audience. These are commonly considered to include radio, film, newspaper, magazine, books, and video games, as well as blogs, podcasts, and video sharing. And this is Mariel Magdrayo Sungkit reporting.
Third is cultural hybridity. Cultural hybridity constitutes the effort to maintain a sense of balance among practices, values, and customs of two or more different cultures. In cultural hybridization, one constructs a new identity that reflects a dual sense of being, which resides both within and beyond the margins of nationality, race, ethnicity, class, and linguistic diversity. Example, some Filipinos speak English and mix with our native language Tagalog to create something new called Taglish. All in all, these three concepts or ideas turns the wheel of global and local production, resulting in localization. Localization is the simultaneous occurrence of both universalizing and particularizing tendencies in contemporary social, political, and economic system. The notion of localization represents a challenge to simplistic concepts of globalization, processed as linear expansion of territorial state. Localization indicates that the growing importance of continental and global levels is occurring together with the increasing salience of local and regional levels. Example, we adapt food and goods, but we create and adapt this in our own local way. This is Dexty Lozano reporting.
These are the outcomes of the influence of globalization on culture. First, cultural differentialism. It is a concept of integration of culture, superficially asserts that a culture affects only the tip of another, but retain its core characteristic as it always has been. The example of which is clothing. We adapt clothing in other countries, but our own original way of clothing retains. Cultural differentialism involves barriers that prevent flows that serve to make culture more aligned. Cultures tend to remain stubbornly different from one another. An example of cultural differentialism is the terrorist attack on 9/11 and the subsequent war in Afghanistan and Iraq. Second, cultural convergence. It explains why similarities between and among cultures are increasing in the aspects of democratic ideas, language, new technologies, arts, and global sports competition, among others. Cultural convergence, where different cultures become similar or even come together and unite using with the new technologies such as internet or smartphones to make us always in touch. The third concept will be reported to us by Dixty Lozano, and this is Gladys Bosio reporting.
Social media tool and fool. These tools have created some wonderful things in the world. They have reunited lost family members. They have found organ donors. There were meaningful, systemic, and positive changes happening around the world because of this platform. But one can only be naive about the flip side of that coin to not notice their own side. According to Marshall McLuhan, media simultaneously extend and amputate or cut human senses. Media expand the reach of communication but dull users' communicative abilities. Cell phones provide capability to talk to more people instantaneously and simultaneously but limit the senses. Social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have adhered to the idea of creating a global village where globalization is continuously making the world an interconnected place, where we all have influence on each other economic, political, social, cultural, and environmental. Some politicians have quickly adapted to this new communications platform and have used the social media as a tool for conveying their messages on a global scale. The study has concluded that politicians using social media platforms help the voter find out about topics, news of political importance as a politician has the ability to convey a particular message straight to their target audience. Social media plays an important role in politics now. Yet, many believe that it may not be very helpful. A number of political activists argue that online discussion prevail when they do not necessarily inform but provoke a widespread response. Moreover, you could also argue that social media has further dumbed down politics, as politicians have increasingly been obsessing over image and social media impact as opposed to real-life policy. Nevertheless, social media is a tool which is effective at reaching a global audience and therefore exerts tremendous influence. It would be foolish for politicians, businesses, and organizations alike not to tap into this well of communication. Social media has opened up a new way for people to communicate with each other and exchange views. But we have to be careful and not allow the simplified online politics to be the main vehicle of political discourse. Globalization and technological innovation is shaping our world into a place like we have never seen before. This is Grace T. Lavinia reporting.
This is the example for social media told for full. Coronavirus vaccine misinformation permeates social media. The reality about the 3 coronavirus vaccine approved for use in the US is very different than some of the narratives that proliferate online. Clinical trials have shown the vaccine made by Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, and Johnson's are safe and effective, but a series of false claims have sprung up on social media and other internet forums. Healthcare workers and government leaders have worked to debunk misinformation that is often peddled by anti-vaccination activists. However, the false claims threaten to derail the current mass vaccination effort. Survey data released earlier this year indicated nearly 4 in 10 people in US wouldn't sign up for vaccine appointment when they're eligible. That could hinder the effort to get the pandemic under control, because experts have suggested at least 70% of population need to be vaccinated to reach herd immunity. This is Merijo Isada reporting.
The conclusion of our overall topic. It showed that different media have diverse effects on globalization. At one point, it seemed that global television was creating a global monoculture. Now, it seems more likely that social media will splinter cultures and ideas into bubbles of people who do not interact. Societies can never be completely prepared of the rapid changes in the system of communication. Every technological change, after all, creates multiple unintended consequences. Consumers and users of media will have a hard time turning back clock, though people may individually try to keep out of Facebook, or in Twitter. For example, this media will continue to engender social changes instead of futuring these changes or insteading of a state of moral panic. Everyone must collectively count ways of dealing with them responsibly and ethnically. And this is Ana Rose G. Ligara reporting.
This is Cara Catherine Tutor.
And this is Doris Bernasol. Maayong buntag.
Dalay ka